someone that played Overwatch for 9 years, there are a few things I miss in Marve Rivals. Let's have a look. Look, I know this video might rub some people the wrong way, but I've been playing Overwatch since the Overwatch 1 beta, and I plan to play it for many more years. Yeah, that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy Marve Rivals. I do. That's actually why I'm also making content on that game. As I've said before, I don't buy into that whole polarizing thing where it's us versus them, which is mainly caused by some frustrated Overwatch players. Both games are fun, so I'm playing both. By the way, if you discover me through my Marve Rivals content, go check out my Overwatch channel, the link post. The link is below. Now, while these two games are seen as competitors, they are quite different in a lot of ways. When it comes to target audience, there's definitely a big overlap, but they each have their own thing, so to speak. Now, that being said, while I'm not on board for the whole polarizing thing, and they actually are quite different, there are a few things that they can learn from each other. And in this video, I want to look at some features, elements of Overwatch 2 that could work in Marve Rivals. And that actually works both ways. I also posted a video on my Overwatch channel about what Overwatch can learn from Rivals. So if you're interested, go have a look. And to be fair, the list of things that Overwatch can learn from Marve Rivals is quite longer and more impactful. Which also makes a lot of sense since Overwatch 2 is in essence an older game, and it has a bit of a different focus. The list for this video is shorter, but also a little more personal. Things that I miss in this experience that I have in Overwatch 2. And some of you might agree, while others might not care at all, which is perfectly fine. And if you have some other suggestions, let me know in the comments. I look forward to reading them all, and I might actually do a follow-up video at some point. Alright, let's get started. The first one is kind of weird. It is something that actually is in the game, that is not missing, but I only discovered it very recently, and I think I might not be the only one that knows that this is actually a thing. When I started out playing Marve Rivals in those first few days, I kind of missed that melee ability that we have in Overwatch. And I know, some of the heroes are all melee, but I missed that kind of close-up slap in the face, you know, hitting them with the back of your gun to finish them off. There is nothing more satisfying than being jumped as a support by a very mobile character and just tapping them in the face and killing them. Especially in a game like Marve Rivals where you have heroes like Spider-Man and Iron Fist that get really up in your face. Well, it turns out there is a melee button. There's a melee ability, but they never really explain it anywhere. And it is in a rather weird spot. It actually is on V, which is really close to B, which is the button that shows you all of the destructible environments. Something I didn't know either, but I accidentally clicked and suddenly everything went black and white. Yeah. Was scary. Now I actually remapped the button because I have big hands, but that was really a bit of a stretch to reach V in the heat of battle. Literally. So that is something I missed, but I found it. Alright, there are some things that I miss and I haven't found yet. And one of them is switching spawns. We've all been there. You die just before the payload is going to hit that next checkpoint, and in the short time that you're respawning, they push it to final meter and you have to do the walk of shame. In Overwatch, you have a feature that you actually can teleport yourself to the closest spawn as soon as it is unlocked. Which seems like a really small and stupid feature, but it is super impactful, especially in a game where some people do not seem to understand that this is a team-based game and that while you are a superhero, you cannot face 6 people by yourself. So you need to group up. A feature like this helps out to make sure everybody is together. The second one is that they need to make the status of your teammates and enemies a little more readable, especially as a support player. I do play quite a lot of Mantis, and she can buff people, including herself. Keeping track of who she actually buffed and how long those buffs are still going to be running, including her heals over time, can be rather challenging. There is this little HUD display somewhere on the right that is really small and difficult to read, and it's really in a weird spot. I think they need to focus more on adding those effects to the actual heroes themselves instead of putting them in the HUD. I think the HUD is a backup. And when it comes to the on-character effect, it is really difficult to read. Now, Overwatch has, over the years, kind of implemented these systems that make it way more clear to see what the status of your friends and your foes. Not too long ago, they added this huge glowing blue effect to whoever's getting a boost, and that works really well. Now, Rivals already has an issue with a lot of effects and clutter going on the screen, so it might be a bit of a challenge. The third one is where we start to get in some difficult territory. I think some of you are really going to disagree with this, which is fine. But that self-healing, the out of combat self-heal that they implemented in Overwatch a few seasons ago, was one of the best design choices they've ever made. As I've said in previous videos, players in all types of games are really bad at picking up resources, buffs, anything that will help him out. And that could be an armor pack, but even those bubbles that Jeff makes that are pretty big and sometimes even hard to avoid, some people manage to kind of completely ignore those and die. I've literally had people pinging me for healing while they're standing next to a health pack. No kidding. Not once, multiple times. It is infuriating. It really makes support feel like a job at times. A job as a kindergarten teacher. Oh, while we're talking about pickups, I think a more nuanced ping system would be really cool, where you can actually ping individual pickups. I tried, but the only thing I get is caution. And then at that point, everybody starts to look for an enemy who's not there, and they start running around, still avoiding that armor pack that just dropped and I was pinging. Adding a little more nuance to that system would be really cool. Anyways, that self-healing passive, it makes the game a little more dummy-proof. Allows us to have a little more fun. It could also solve a lot of other problems and help us avoid the next item on my list. I've been talking about this since release. We need some type of system that is either going to motivate or enforce better group compositions. I remain open to any suggestion on how they can make this work, and that is if they want to avoid some type of roll-lock system. But I'm going to be honest, every single game I played since has only strengthened my opinion on the fact that we're not going to do it by ourselves. I mean, in competitive play, it definitely has been better, but it's not because there's more willingness to play different roles in competitive. It's still those same people that play support and tank in quick play that play the roles in competitive. The thing is that in quick play, they're less willing to sacrifice their own fun for the need of the many. While in competitive, well, they actually want to win the game, so they just sacrifice themselves again. But that means that in a few weeks, months, those people are going to be fed up playing those roles. They're going to be fed up playing competitive. Or they're going to be fed up playing the game in general. And I don't think we need to push it that far. All we're going to be left with are those people that never switch. And look, if they can find a way to motivate people to pick at least 1 and max 3 in every single role, fine, I'll take it. Alright, the last one on my list is kind of difficult to explain. And I have to be fair, this is only early days for Marve Rivals. So I'm keeping it really open that this is going to evolve over the next few months and years. It definitely took Overwatch quite a while to get there. But while Overwatch does have a lot of these small bugs, and with every patch they fix some of them, but new ones pop up, like skins disappearing. And once in a while they'll even have to remove a hero or a map because they are broken. But overall, currently I feel like Overwatch is more of a competitive and polished experience. With all its challenges in counterplay, hero balancing, hero identity, it still just kind of feels more of a coherent product. And it is both in gameplay and technically. It is more predictable, more reliable. Yet again, I'm having a ton of fun with Rivals. But let me compare it to food. Rivals is like a Big Mac, and Overwatch is a decent home-cooked meal. Dished up by a cook that went a little heavy on salt, but still. So after a few Big Macs, you start to appreciate the nutritious value of a home-cooked meal. But again, it is early days. We're 2 weeks in. No need to get anybody's knickers in a twist. And like I said, the list of things that Overwatch can learn from Marve Rivals is quite longer and has a few big items in there. But in the end, I think both games can challenge each other in very different ways and actually result in 2 very different but better games in general. And who knows, one day Marve Rivals might become a meal all by itself. Or maybe it wants to stay fast food, and that is fine. I do enjoy the occasional Big Mac, clearly. But that was it. That was the list of things that I'm missing as an Overwatch player in Marve Rivals. Let me know in the comments below what you miss in Marve Rivals. And that could be from Overwatch, but also any other game. For now, however, that was it. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. It always helps me out. If you have a few minutes left, maybe check out one of my other videos. But above all, make sure to subscribe, because I'm going to be back with a new video very soon. Till then, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye bye.